I wanted to go through this on here on video also to explain to you what is happening and so on. Um, so this is start of some training. I was trying to a night before I started working. I wonder what I can do with this. See that there's been a slight. Is it possible? Um, I can have more ability there. More training. If you're training, can I do more there? Um, okay, and it's been highlighted with that DALI as well. That seems to be, when you look at it, very even has England there on that DALI itself. Um, so watch. I'll talk you through it this way. Okay, so I have the sea there. See that flat area. Um, anyway, so I'm relatively quite well able with my side that day. Maybe about 40% is what I would conclude it as. You see how it's lowered just there at that point with what I was trying there. And then it has a froth and a round and everything after because that lowering. Um, quite interesting. This was recorded maybe 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 3 years ago, and I'm interacting in time with it to be clear. In essence, if you watch that video 2 years ago, it still would be exactly the same, even though I'm interacting with you. As explained before, I can even do it with stop motion, or even AI, the same. Basically, it's people could argue, is this just a child's toy? It isn't. Well, my cat. It isn't. That's Gussie, by the way. It isn't a child's toy. I'm trying to work on ways to use it operationally, and in the end, looking for government backing eventually for that. When it's more proven that this fundamentally does work. There's obvious issues with my home life and everything, and being slightly kidnapped, well, fundamentally, and all that kind of stuff, which I been partly kidnapped all the time anyway, and so on. Yeah, so there's that. How do you move forward there anyway? But I don't want to keep things just on halt all for forever. Progress. Everyone wants to make progress rather than being held, especially with the home situation as you know it. Looking at ways forward. That you see that dip there. That was me just then. Looking at ways forward that allows that. I mean, the progress of this suggests, okay, if there's an earthquake and there's a tsunami warning, can you send me a CCTV up the sea? And just let me watch it for hours. Or for those next few hours, and that is there. The same as the tornado video you saw. Can I have CCTV of that directly? And which way do you throw the tornado? Because you've seen me do that. Same with the weather. Okay, you're gonna have tornadoes in Houston. Can I douse that? I have doused it, not as well as I could do more side, but I did douse it somewhat. There was one tornado, which I still moved off to the left rather than directly at them. Still, indicated people got harmed, but still hopefully better. See how this is going down. But you see, if you direct that, we want it to go in that direction as a tornado. There's one use also. See how much that's gone down there with my pushing. Very calming. Really, really. These uses are there. You're learning about fire. I can control, in effect, psychically fire in some kind of ways. How can I manipulate that itself to that if another green building goes off somewhere at any time with enough training, can I just and there's no more fire in that building? Can I do that? I don't know. I said that DALI kind of speculates of a peaceful sea, and that is becoming evident. And I do this later on in this video, which is why at core why I wanted to actually do this video this way to explain it to you personally rather than with subtitles alone. So there's that. Yeah. In essence, I'll tell you when I get to it. I think it's a little bit later on. This video alone, the sky looks CG. It looks like it's been painted on, so it suggests if the whole thing was CG anyway in some kind of way. The froth didn't look real. Things like that. You see just then, it looks unusual. I think that was an AIC. You see how it frothed and everything. You see that there? It looked like AI generated to what froth is meant to look like there, and so on. I could still interact with it. You see that? I still could, but it felt different. Yeah, because still see a slight reaction, which I can react with AI also. It's almost like this thing I'm reaching into. It's almost like a time dimension or something. Dimension, which is also where the spiritual things kind of seem to. I don't know. I don't know. But no, I have theorized before. Is my telekinesis, in effect, is it actually not telekinesis? Am I interacting with it in another way? If it's going through time also, and also, if you had this AI person still being able to touch an AI person's cheek or anything, or move their hair, you know. So there's that. But it's not a wasted resource. It's more upsetting to say, have we wasted this a long time? There are other reasons. Anyway, you could argue. Could really argue. So it's a very, very difficult thing to say. Ultimately, I need to say there, for me, before anyone says it, I living as I do with what I go through, and even if I didn't go through anything horrifying, simply my sight alone is fundamentally like having Asperger's in itself. Anyway, fundamentally, regardless of the trauma of 20 years, anyway, okay, I just need, I think you would see that from my home anyway, Okay, to be clear, this is only meant to be for government. This video generally, who watches me, right? So okay, so continuing on, you can't really see this very visually right now. It's a bit too. I'm using the wide-eye camera instead of the Eufy. It's just easier because the Eufy it was harder to. You had to. I fixed it now, but at the time I had to snip together the videos at 10 minutes each. The wire I just grabbed, wide-eye camera. I just grabbed and that's why it looks a bit brighter. But on a lot of the videos you won't notice that, so it's a lot better. Just to be clear, to iterate again, no, this has multiple uses. It wasn't a kid's game. It really does. It's just unknown. It has absolutely a lot of uses, not just a little bit. There'll be some that have alleged otherwise, but there's some that have the agenda of this home. That is part of policing, government, anything. It needs to be, sadly. Okay, now you see the interaction there. It is working. So that's the one with the bird. It's got a little bird on it. I at this moment I make sure. That's why I'm playing around with it so much. I try and make sure that the water stays away from the bird. It's a bit of fun, which I nearly successfully not that well. So there's the bird coming in again, and trying desperately to make sure that the bird's okay. So yeah, I'm blocking it with my hand. Yeah, maybe you've seen this video and you think it's silly, and that's the thing. I agree with. I need to demonstrate use more, make it more professional. It's a practice, at time. But you see that little curve there? That was my curve that kept it away from the bird. Things like that. See that there? You can actually see physically the bending of what I'm doing. Later on in the video, before you get bored, there's a profound moment which I speak about at the start that fundamentally shows the spirituality of the situation that needs to be imbued to. Fundamentally, me going forward in my life, I want to have a more spiritual life anyway. But I'm absolutely, with absolute knowledge, how me pulling that up there, and then I'm grabbing the one behind it. I'm trying to build a bigger wave. So I've built a massive wave that just crashes through, covers all the area. See, and it winds up with more afterwards as well. That's just increased, you see. It's interesting. So I've really pushed a lot of power into that wave. It's just engulfed the whole area. Then after me pulling upwards. Later on, anyway, you'll be able to see this spirituality in it and why it's so important to imbue that. Even though belief is so important anyway, in anything you desire, it is important for me to really hone and be strong with my beliefs in religion. And with that, and diligence, and you've seen with those doctors' videos my aims and so on, which I'm slowly working towards, with the detriment of the people around me that prevent that. It absolutely that kind of lifestyle is what's required for living with my side, basically. The other sides will say otherwise, but you know what they want now, so basically. Okay. Right, talking too much about it. Very happy that you've been able to monitor more readily and have a full knowledge now of the issues. Very, very happy. Yeah. Still seems that some spies are able to explain to government how they should be, even though there's tapes from conservative times that dispute what they were saying. Just need to say that. These spies. Okay. Okay. Of me. I need to tapes. Okay, I'll keep watching. I'll talk through it. See, I'm just doing a lot of practice on this. See, I'm trying to differentiate. It's not. It seems like fun, but it's practice. How can I work? How can I use the C? In essence, you see that then? How can I use the C? How does the C work in flow and everything? And what can I do with it? With what I can do, with that. The C is a different kind of style to fire, or to a fleeing man in a car from the police. That's on a police helicopter camera, or a tornado. They're all different style of forces. So understanding what I can and can't do, what are my limits, what aren't my limits. Can this be used? In essence, I didn't get a good video of what occurred with the British weather, but I fundamentally I remember doing it at the time. Didn't seem to show it very well in the video. I kind of doused the weather over England over the week or so. Around the 24th, I did it basically a week or so ahead. So we have a lot less, for about a week or so. And that that there's a drought in China. No, I can see a cloud. I pull up. There's not a cloud. There's a mass rainfall over all an area. Or the opposite. Flooding, okay, I take away your clouds. That's what I'm able enough. This has been covered by other people, so those uses aren't really demonstrated, which is a real issue because I am not just a waste. It's not just about being a waste. It's this could be my illness, could be my day job. Fundamentally, for government. With government resources behind it, not a plat game, and I'm gonna keep trying to show you that, but not just keep trying to show you that. I'm gonna demonstrate that to you, with my small resources I have. Even though you're aware, my home does everything in a very psychotic way to try and disprove anything, even anything, of any value. Okay, so let's keep watching. This is where it gets... is it this one? I can't remember. It is this one. This is where it gets very interesting. I just pulled it down there. Right, big screen. This is where it gets very interesting. So I'm trying to calm the sea. Specifically, the whole sea. Okay? And this is how I've thought of to do it. You see, I'm just frothing it up and pulling it down. Frothing it up and pulling it down around the area of those rocks. It looks like that Dali, fundamentally. Frothing it up and pulling it down, frothing it up and pulling it down. Okay? And I'm like, it's not doing what I want. You know what I mean? And I say something there about it. That is. I mean, maybe I should have that sound on also. Yeah, I will. No, I won't. Fundamentally, I'm just basically. It's on the rows. It's on the rows. It's fine. I'm saying it did lower a little bit. It appears, and I keep my hand there to make sure. Very frothy now, and then it starts pulling up again. Now, well, now I'm trying again. So it takes a while to start building back up again. And I'm still not that successful with it. I'm trying another method of kind of like that, or then down. See if that'll work. Be at that level. And then around about here it hits me. About now. Or is it the next bit? It's round about now or the next bit where my hand is like that. And it just starts calming. Watch. There. There. And that's it. That's it. And I can't tell you, see? The whole of the area, the whole of it calmed. And I can't tell you what I did or what I thought at that time as a connection to the sea. I can't tell you. Now it's starting to get frothy again. So you can see physically, yeah, it calmed. The whole thing. I can't tell you what I thought on video, but it was spiritual, specifically a connection spiritually to the element that is the sea, which calmed it, basically. So very, very important that my side, absolutely has a, even if private with my home government, it has a religious element. Without a cult, without a cult, it has absolutely a spiritual element, and you've seen it yourself in hidden videos over in the last 4 years. Basically, I didn't really control the sea. We just kind of met in the middle, and it felt calm. So that was that. Very, very important. I'm not willing to say in a video what I thought, and it has some connotations that it's going to take a while. I think it's going to take about 2 years to get my life where I want it to be, and it's not going to happen here at all. But it needs to I need to be able, I don't need to be able to, but I want to demonstrate to you operationally as well. Today I heard the news about this hurricane here, that there. I was on it at that time of day, did it, and so on. So and so on. This is the result. It's not just random. Or manage this or manage that. No, I've got this as part of my life. I'm doing it. Please, consider with your resources, government, full time. You know the issues of the blockers there anyway. Would you take that on, given what you see? Without the issues, you see what I mean. The issues that I have that I'm not really. I shouldn't really talk about too much on. I'm uncomfortable talking about on camera right now. Yeah, that war is in the side drive anyway. Grab it. Obviously, you can see the audio on there as well. You have it in real time when I did it anyway. But that connection between us both, the sea and me, was absolutely spiritual on an exceptionally high level. It's been speculated by spies in Farnworth that and suggested something a bit matrixy of the one or something like that was fundamentally it. I don't want to talk anymore in that kind of way, but there's suggestions I said earlier, in the previous 3 years, that indicated the same. And how do you live your life? Did you beg the Pope for teaching? Basically, how do you live your life better? Privately, on those things. Not having knowledge of people see this publicly, Adam. Great, but what do we have privately? I don't know what is known publicly. Anyway, So there's that. Anyway, with that, I'll leave it with you. I'm hopeful it's not just you and the American government that get these videos when I make them. And with that, the opportunities that, you know how clever I am generally, especially on lower meds. Wow, you know, you give me a year in a home like this. It needs to have security, but it also needs to have people around that are public, because it can get circumvented. You have to have those. You know, you have to have those choices. And anything can be, what's it called? Got into. Even security people can wind up being a bad guy's team anyway. For me, I haven't, I struggle to think. I haven't seen any. I've seen no indication anyone can really guarantee my safety, even if I was doing okay. Basically, with the issues that I go through, a home like this, where it's got people walking by, it prevents a number of the issues that occurred in Newmarket Road, for example, of isolation, and the bad guys team fundamentally using that as an advantage. Um, but honestly, if I had a home where it had government on either side as neighbours, just two or three or four people, and they treated me with absolute dignity and decency, and treated me with the respect of the ideas, and I don't want to say heroic, but brave things I've done. I could say brave things I've done over the years, aware of the smear that is howling. Um, yeah, I want to demonstrate that to you over a period of weeks or so, to show I can really operate this well, even myself, let alone anything else. Okay. Hopefully, it gives more incentive to a way forward, rather than a holding pattern permanently, which is a real worry. Yeah, feels that way a little bit. Just today, of suggestion of, pardon me, more long term. Just well, he lived this way before. Just keep him living this way. That's a great worry. I do worry that there is no solutions to my actual problem, and my mum and dad's problem, and any other people in my issues. I do hope as well it is considered. My situation could be your situation, due to the power you have and authority. Um, you need to have checks there. I did come up with I think it's stereoscopic or something. The same thing that used on 3i Atlas, that discovers the chemical compounds and stuff like that by radar. I think it's stereoscopic or something. I can't remember. I think I've got it slightly wrong, the word. You can actually use that in the testing that in cancer research right now, but because each cancer is different, it's not putting the right results. It would for implants, basically. I said it. So it's something to consider. It takes, to get a photo of that takes a millisecond. To get a clear photo takes a minute. Of processing after, you could have that in any security area that you're worried about it. Anyone with high authority, they could be checked daily, just in their routines, almost like when you walk into an Asda and it has the security, the detectors when you walk through. As simple as that, you won't even know, and it has a guarantee then, just an idea. Your situation could be mine. If it's possible, it's possible. If it's possible, it is possible. Okay, right. That's all I got. So yeah, I can throw out ideas. I throw out ideas a lot, but also that PowerPoint that I tried to send out was so ridiculous it appeared. I kept it cute and harmless, but it was still entirely true. Basically. Alright, I'll let you go. So yeah, alright. A lot of considerations there. There is a lot of misinformation about my situation that makes people say this or that in authority. MPs and all sorts. It can be quite difficult when you're watching news channels sometimes, and trying to explain no because of this or no because of that. it's something I don't know how it's happened, because you should have full awareness. So that's a worry also, but it hasn't really happened the last few days fundamentally, but it still is a real worry. It's just good to know that, the UK government itself, are moral anyway. Both, all sides, um, it just winds up seeping in. I'm gonna go anyway. Bottom line is, I want to set it up myself. I've started to try and set it up. I want to set it up. Look, I am using this proactively. I am saving lives with my site. I want to demonstrate that to you for an added incentive, um, basically to help and future prospect, after you've helped fundamentally. Yeah, yeah. I'll let you go. So have a good one. Bye.